Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure actually to be with you today here in this great event. And I would like to take the opportunity to thank Worldchefs Association for organizing such a great event. Special thanks to Chef Thomas for the invitation. Well, I'm going to share with you some insights about food safety for catering industry. First, let me please ask you a question. What is the most important element in food catering industry, especially in flight catering?
Temperature control.
Right. There are so many elements. The most important one is time. When time passed, will never return. If there is any delay, this will result in disruption in the delivery, and then this disruption will eventually takes us to some, let's say, interruption in the food safety parameters. What I will try to share with you today to answer 3 questions. Why food safety is important, who is responsible, and how to maintain food safety. Well, why it's important? More than 200 diseases are caused by eating contaminated food. More than 600 million people get sick as a result of eating contaminated food. That costs countries a lot to maintain the food safety. As per the estimate, let's say, amount by the WHO, it costs $110 billion for developing countries. That's too much as a burden on the economy of the countries and on health system as well. Second point is legal and governmental requirements. Every catering industry business has to meet the requirements by the government and by the international regulation to meet the food safety requirements. Third point, food safety are closely linked with the United Sustainable Development Goals. Actually, food safety is the corner stone of food security. Without food safety, there is no food security. There are almost 17 UN SDGs. 2 of them are closely linked with food safety. Goal number 2, end hunger, and goal number 3, ensure health lives and promote well-being for all at all stages. Number 4, it's important for trade and economy, either within the countries or between countries. Failing to implement an effective food safety protocol can lead to contaminated products entering to the food chain. Once the defective product has been discovered, food business are subject to dramatic disruption in their operation. Who is responsible? We say that food safety is everyone's responsibility. We are all responsible here. From, let's say, the beginning of the food chain, farmers, for example, up to the consumer. The most important stage during this value chain is manufacture. Why? Because there are so many processes takes place on that stage. So FBOs should be aware of and understand the hazard associated with their products. And they should have a proactive approach to control these hazards and maintain the risk of having a contamination within their products. We have just said, Chef here, temperature control is really important. Actually, temperature control and time control is really important during the production of food. Raw material are the foundation of finished product. As long as you have Safe and quality raw material that will help you to have safe and quality finished products. There is a tool can be used to ensure the safety of raw material. Approved supplier program is really important to help to ensure product quality and safety. Successful program includes so many factors. For example, food safety certificate, lab certificate, compliance documentation, quality assurance program, HACCP plans, and third-party audit. Manufacture as a second step, as we just mentioned, it's a very important stage during that value chain, and every FBOs has to understand the hazard associated with their risk. Transportation is really important here, and here we have transportation either from the manufacturer to the consumer or from supplier to the manufacturer. Finished product and raw material have different lifespans depending on the item to be delivered. It's very important to ensure that the proper method of transportation has been used. For example, frozen product, either finished product or raw material, need to be transported within a certain specification during the transportation. Consumers are also responsible for their own food by following proper storage, proper preparation, and proper cooking. Consumer normally responses to food concern are driven by misunderstanding of risk. Therefore, consumers need access to reliable source of information as well as upskill their awareness about food safety and the hazard associated with food. Well, how to maintain food safety in catering? There are a mixture of elements. First one, it's important to have a risk-based food safety management system. Why risk-based? It's more cost-effective, help to focus on risk, and it's adopt a proactive approach, not a reactive. And this is the most important part in the recent food safety management system. It has to be a proactive approach and adopting a risk-based approach. Good hygiene practice should always be a top priority. Food hygiene incorporates safe storage, preparation, and cooking. That will include, for example, personal hygiene, preventing cross-contamination, cleaning and sanitization, most importantly here, controlling of allergen, and this is really important here. Most of, let's say, FBOs maybe ignore the importance of allergen, and we all know that allergen could lead, unfortunately, to death. Food safety culture. The Global Food Safety Initiative defines a food safety culture as shared values, norms, and beliefs that affect mindset and behavior toward food safety throughout the organization. So it is really important to have that culture within any organization, starting from housekeeping up to CEO or executive chef. Last but not least, technology and innovation advancement. This is really critical. We have just heard in the previous session here about some advancement in technology. Actually, new and emerging technology is always important for food safety because we believe it could help to improve traceability, detecting of contaminants, and investigation during outbreaks. However, I'm always say that there is a gap between the industry, science, and regulators in terms of the adaptation of technology and innovation. We always find that the industry is more advanced in terms of adaptation of technology and innovation, while science and regulators are a little bit behind. We need to bridge these gaps to make sure that any technology or innovation being used in food industry have the right regulation to make sure it's safe for our finished products. Lastly, I just want to share with you a snapshot of our food safety management system within Saudi Airlines Catering Company. During last year, for example, we have had almost 10,000 handprint samples and also 10,000 environmental samples, and we have analyzed more than 13,000 food samples. All these samples were withdrawn by our food safety team and were analyzed inside our central lab in Saudi Airlines Catering Company in Jeddah. This is a huge investment, but we have to do it to have a robust, full, or effective food safety management system. During the pandemic, for example, we have developed 79 guidelines to make sure that we have the best practice in terms of hygiene. And also, we successfully upgraded our food safety management system as per ISO 22000. Lastly, this is a copy of our certificates within Saudi Airlines Catering Company. For example, HACCP certifications, ISO 22000, Halal certificates. As you know, in Saudi Arabia, we have to have Halal certificates for our products. Thank you so much.